Hello and welcome to Speed Politics 101, your go-to channel for unpacking the world of politics, society, and everything in between. I'm Billy Aquina, and I'm thrilled to have you here as we explore the fascinating ideas that shape our societies, past, present, and future. If you're curious about how politics influences our everyday lives, hit the subscribe and notification button so you never miss an update. Last time, we delved into the profound ideas and legacy of Saint Augustine of Hippo, a towering figure in early Christian philosophy. Today, we turn our attention to Saint Thomas Aquinas, another influential thinker whose contributions shaped not only the medieval church but also the broader intellectual traditions of the West. Imagine a child born into Italian nobility in Naples, with a lineage tied to emperors and kings. His father, Count Landulf of Aquino, and his mother, Countess Theodora of Tino, must have envisioned a life of great power and influence for their son. But destiny, as it often does, had other plans. Picture young Thomas at the age of 5, sent to the Benedictine monastery of Monte Cassino. A serene life of devotion seemed to await him, yet even then, his mind must have been alight with curiosity. By 1245, much to his family's dismay, he defied their expectations. He joined the Dominican order, embracing a life of poverty and study. His family opposed this so fiercely that they even held him captive for a time. But Thomas, resolute and undeterred, eventually made his way to Paris. And there, under the tutelage of the great Albert Magnus, Thomas began to flourish. Albert, the towering intellect of his time, introduced Thomas to Aristotle's works, shaping the young scholar's thinking. Thomas's brilliance became evident as he completed his master's degree in theology. By 1256, he was licensed to teach, embarking on a journey that would span Paris, Naples, Orvieto, and Rome. Can you imagine the dedication it took to write so prolifically? During these years, he produced masterpieces. In Orvieto, he penned the Summa contra Gentiles, a manual for missionaries. At the University of Paris, he delved deep into Aristotle's ethics and politics, producing commentaries that bridged the gap between classical philosophy and Christian theology. And then, in 1266, he began his magnum opus, the Summa Theologica, in Rome. But fate had its own timeline. In 1273, Thomas stopped working on the Summa. Why? A mystical experience during Mass left him shaken, saying, "All that I have written seems like straw compared to what I have seen." Shortly thereafter, in 1274, he passed away at the young age of 49. Yet, his story didn't end there. In 1323, Pope John XXII canonized him. Then came 1567, when Pope Pius V proclaimed him a doctor of the Church. His philosophy, though, gained its ultimate recognition in 1879, thanks to Pope Leo XIII encyclical, Aeterni Patris. This document cemented Thomas' thought as the cornerstone of Catholic education, a bulwark against the rising tide of liberal theology. In the realm of philosophy, St. Thomas Aquinas was profoundly influenced by Aristotle. For centuries, Aristotle's writings had been neglected by the Catholic Church, which favored Neoplatonism and deliberately sidelined Aristotelian philosophy. Fortunately, these works were preserved by Muslim scholars in Spain, which had become a hub of classical learning and culture. Prominent Arab commentators such as Avicenna and Averroes studied and expanded on Aristotle's philosophy. However, the Church initially viewed the revival of Aristotle with suspicion. Averroes' interpretations, in particular, were seen as incompatible with Christian doctrine. The Church initially distrusted Aristotle's revival, viewing some interpretations, especially those of Averroes, as conflicting with Christian beliefs. This led to Aristotle's ideas being condemned in 1270, creating an environment of church opposition during St. Thomas's career. Despite this, St. Thomas believed Aristotle's ideas could align with Christian teachings. He argued that Aristotle had reached the limits of human reason and that combining his insights with divine revelation would create a complete philosophical system. Between 1269 and 1272, St. Thomas wrote extensively on Aristotle, integrating his concepts into Christian thought. His political work on kingship reflected Aristotle's ideas, particularly the belief that humans are social beings and that the state is a natural institution. He also supported Aristotle's view that laws should be rooted in reason and virtue. St. Thomas successfully merged Aristotle's natural philosophy with Christian spiritual principles, marking a major shift from the ideas of earlier thinkers like St. Augustine. This blending of classical philosophy and Christian theology made St. Thomas a pivotal figure in the history of political thought. Now, if you recall, we previously explored St. Augustine, who famously tied politics to the notion of human sin. But Aquinas takes a bold step forward and flips that narrative on its head. For Aquinas, reason, not sin, is the defining characteristic of politics. Imagine this: God has implanted reason within each of us. When we follow its guidance in our social and political lives, we engage with the world in ways that are not just natural but profoundly spiritual. In this way, Aquinas forged a beautiful connection between the practical realm of politics and the lofty ideals of spirituality. He didn't just theorize about it, he made it work, grounding his ideas in the rediscovered philosophies of Aristotle. But let's pause for a moment. Picture the world of Aquinas, a time when Aristotle's works had been sidelined by the Church, which leaned heavily on Neoplatonism. For centuries, Aristotle's writings were neglected in the Christian West. However, when these works resurfaced, the Church wasn't exactly thrilled. Averroë's interpretations, in particular, were seen as a threat to Christian doctrine, prompting repeated condemnations. In 1270, the Church even declared 13 Aristotelian propositions heretical. Can you imagine being a philosopher in such an environment? Yet, amidst this hostility, Aquinas remained steadfast. He believed Aristotle had pushed the boundaries of philosophy as far as one could without divine revelation. Aquinas' genius was in taking these Aristotelian ideas, purging them of error, and harmonizing them with Christian theology. His vision? A synthesis of reason and faith, a complete intellectual system. Between 1269 and 1272, Aquinas wrote 12 commentaries on Aristotle, and his work on kingship is a testament to this integration. Like Aristotle, Aquinas believed that humans are inherently social and political beings, that the state is natural to man, and that its purpose is to help people live virtuously. He also embraced the idea that the best government is one rooted in justice, led by virtuous rulers under the rule of law. But here's where Aquinas shines as a political thinker. He declared that all authority comes from God. The community, under divine sovereignty, can delegate this authority to different forms of government: monarchical, aristocratic, or republican. But Aquinas' preferred form of government is a monarchy because for him, the universe, governed by one God, is the ultimate model of unity and order. Yet, he was no naive idealist. He warned that monarchs must rule for the common good and not for personal gain, lest their rule devolve into tyranny. And if the government oppresses its people or contradicts natural law, Aquinas affirmed the people's right to resist. St. Thomas Aquinas' thought remains profoundly relevant in today's world, offering timeless guidance on the integration of ethics, reason, and governance. His belief in harmonizing faith and reason continues to inspire dialogue between religion and science, proving that these domains can coexist and enrich one another. In the realm of politics and governance, Aquinas' insistence that rulers serve the common good and govern justly provides a moral framework that remains essential in promoting accountability and ethical leadership. His openness to engaging with thinkers from diverse traditions, including Muslim scholars, serves as a model for interfaith and intercultural dialogue in an increasingly globalized and polarized world. Whether through his systematic approach to critical thinking or his commitment to aligning politics with morality, Aquinas offers a vision that bridges past wisdom with present challenges, reminding us of the enduring need for truth, justice, and the common good in our politics.